Go to TAPgiles.com to learn dreams, engage my services, and support the channel.
Yeah, I'm going to show how to make like a character customization thing. So I'm going to start off with a platforming puppet. And we're going to make it so that the player can customize the character in a number of different ways. So I think first I'll just give it different hairdos or something. And I'm no sculptor, so forgive me as I flared around. Howdy. Cool. So we've got these different helmets for the head. So I'll just put those in the head. So I'm grabbing all these, and we don't need precise move. I'm grabbing all these and then hovering over the puppet and L1 and X, and now we're inside the puppet. And if I go like that, you can see everything else outside is hidden. So we know we're in the puppet, and then go into the head, and now we're in the head. There we go. So I'll put these on in a position where that's the actual final position where it will appear when that object is selected as part of the character selection. And then I'll have a keyframe that will move it somewhere else. So I'm going to move it just over there. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so then I go in here and move that there again. And we can turn this on and off with a switch. And then that keeps it, then we can, in edit mode, we can like turn that on to be able to work on these things separately, and turn it off to actually let it work properly. Okay, and then get that one on there. And then we want that to be over there when we're working on it. And then finally the hairdo. So let's get those out of the way. There we go. And we keyframe that out of the way as well. The other thing is we should leave these powered off. So make sure they're all off. There we go. And then we can go into show hide and turn off preview invisibility so we can see them again. And I'm just going to make sure these are all not movable, because there used to be the head which was movable. Ah, there we go. Okay. Right. And because they're not powered, then this doesn't really do anything. So we also want that keyframe to make those powered, and then it will affect them properly. There we go. So that one's not coming along for the ride. Yeah, that's because we selected these things and then tweaked one of them, and then changed the power and whatever other settings. But they're not all the same. So this is a sculpt, that's a sculpt. So this sculpt tweak menu will apply to the one it's tweaking and any other selected sculpt. But that is the sculpt. That's actually a group. So then this would be separate, and it wouldn't be affected by changes in this tweak menu because it's not the same type of thing. That's why that was messing up. So that's purely for like debugging and stuff in here, so we can work on things. But we want to power one of these and one of those alone based on a variable that we have, so that we can kind of remember what hat we want between scenes, and if the player leaves the game and comes back to it, it will still remember it. So if you have a variable called hat, like that, then we can wire that into a selector. So a selector is kind of like a mode choosing thing, and only one of these can send a signal at a time. So if we let's turn on our debug thing. If you wire these into the power of these different things, yeah, then we can send a signal of the number of the mode we want. So this is 0, that's 1, that's 2, and send that into active port, and then it will change the mode to that. And there's lots of other ways of using the selector. So yeah, let's just put up to 5 and wire that in there. So as we change the signal going in to 1, now it's on mode B, and then 2 is mode C. Yeah, only thing is that's kind of broken this thing now, but we can come back to later. So we can have a value, a number, that we can send into here, and that will show the right kind of hat. So if we play time and turn that off, then it's going to show different things. So let's turn on preview visibility again. Let's just put this back there like that. And now depending on the number we're sending in, it's going to do a different thing. Yeah, and we can kind of see like the ghost image of the other ones because we've got wires going into them. But if we were to play, then we don't see those ghost images. We just got the hat that we're actually selecting. Because the problem is this keyframe is turning on the power here, but that's being overridden by whatever's going on with the wire. So if we wire into these as well, it's starting to get a bit messy, but there are like numerous different ways of doing this stuff. Okay, so now that all still works, and it still just shows the one that we're actually using, like that, and it all moves with the head and everything. Let's actually use that hat thing now. So we'll just wire that current value of the variable into here, into the active port, and now it will show based on that. So now it's got the red helmet, and if we set this initial value to 1, there you go, white helmet, and so on. So that works fine. So the tricky thing is we want to be able to change this. So another way of changing stuff like that is to wire into next output. So that's trying to go to the next output, but because it's being set by this, it's kind of being overridden. So what we can actually do is change this variable based on what's going on with the selector. So as well as sending in an active port, we can get out the current active port and set this variable to be that number. So let's get a variable modifier and wire that into the operation value. And then we want to set the variable, so it's called hat, so I can use up and down on the D-pad to get to the different names. And we just want to set it continuously at all times. So now if we play time and we go next, it does the next thing, and then it sets the variable, and then the variable comes out, and then it goes back in. So it's kind of like a loop going on, but it works just so that it actually works the way we want it to. Yeah, so if we just look at the helmet now, then it changes, and we can use like the D-pad or something on the controller sensor to wire into this instead of a switch. So if we go right goes next and left goes previous, and now when we're playing we press right and left, and it's actually looping around. So if I just quickly tweak that to be remote controllable here, then I don't have to possess it. I can just play time, and left and right normally undoes and redoes changes. So I'll hold L1. I'll hold L1 while doing it, and then it won't make do undos and stuff. So as you can see here, it's like when it gets to the end and it tries to go next, it will loop round to the beginning like that. And when we're at the start and we go previous, it will loop around to the end. So we've got this nice looping behavior built in. And we'll put that back onto possessable. And while I'm here, I'll turn on force possession, which means when I go to play mode, it's already possessed. And I can change my hat. That's one kind of thing we can do.
Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something interesting. Go to patreon.com/TAPgiles to learn something new every day.